he was initially known as just a street fighter and he had this tough exterior, he was really a teddy bear. He was one of the sweetest, kindest athletes I have ever come across. Very gracious with his time. People were connected to this man. He was living the American dream. He came from essentially nothing. He was a bodyguard who found success as a backyard brawler and then, burst on the scene as an MMA fighter and had great success, and actually recently came back to MMA fighting for Bellator and had success breaking all kinds of ratings records. So this is a huge loss for our sport, and his impact will be felt for many years. It's shocking.
Fabricio Verdum. I thought he was a joke. I thought he was making out with something he stole. That's just like how I saw Verdum. How he's parading around with a belt like he stole something with the stupid face he always kept. And how do you keep that face? How do you walk into the cage with that face on? Be a champion and carry yourself like so. I just think I've never been a fan of Fabricio, and I didn't think he was the true champion. I never did.
Saturday was a very difficult day. I reported the news that Brock Lesnar was close to signing a deal with the UFC to return to fight at UFC 200, that upset the UFC. They wanted to announce the news themselves. And before the main event on Saturday night, Dana White kicked me out of the building and said that I would never, I would never cover the UFC again. My credentials were taken away and I was banned for life. And he reiterated that stance earlier today. Thankfully, several members of the UFC team reached out to my bosses at SB Nation earlier tonight after we spoke, and it was a nice, cordial conversation. And they decided to lift the ban that was imposed on myself and my colleagues. And all of a sudden, here we are again, and it's surprising. I didn't think this would happen, but I was hoping, as I told you when we spoke, that cooler heads would prevail, because I believed I did nothing wrong, and I would do the same thing again. So I'm happy that they decided to do this. I'm very thankful, and I'm happy that I could just go back to covering the sport and not being a part of the story. I just want to cover the stories of the great fighters of the sport.
I ain't got no motherfucker. So I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker.
Well, I didn't decide to walk away. I mean, it was more for my health reasons to leave the octagon. I knew that diverticulitis, the illness that I had overcome, and it was time for me to. I jumped back in the octagon way too soon. 6 months after my surgery. I mean, I had 12 inches of my colon removed. Yada yada yada. Here we are. I'm getting back in the cage, UFC 200. That's what it's all about. But going back then, I believe that the illness removed me from the octagon. I feel great. I'm excited for this fight. It's a tough challenge ahead of me. I believe Mark has a tough challenge ahead of him. He's never faced an opponent such as myself, and I'm looking forward to this bout. I'm looking forward to it. He's a heavy-hitting, hard-headed human being, and hopefully my athleticism and my octagon awareness and all those things and my wrestling background can play a key factor in me winning this fight.
He went to Iraq at the invitation of a peace organization led by Ramsey Clark, the former U.S. Attorney General. The group hoped Ali's global popularity and enormous prestige in the Muslim world might prevent a war. Ali wanted to help the peace process, but his immediate aim was to bring U.S. hostages back home. Assisting Ali was a liaison from the U.S. Embassy, Vernon Norred.
He was a hero of mine. It was well announced to the Iraqis that Muhammad Ali, world champion, world-renowned hero, is now in Baghdad.
He mingled with the people of Baghdad, visited schools, and prayed in historic mosques.
Ali had a special magnetism. The Iraqis would ask him for autographs, want to stand and talk to him. Ali never, ever turned anybody down.
We hope and pray that it's not a war. Put the little thought and for the fame that I have, showing the real side of the man.
The next day, he was brought aware that he was going to be given an audience and to prepare himself to come to the embassy to see Saddam.
Ali assured Hussein he'd bring back to the U.S. an honest account of his visit to Iraq.
I'm not going to let Hajj Muhammad Ali go back to the United States without having a number of the American citizens here accompanying him.
After Saddam agreed to release 15 human shields, Ali and his staff prepared to take them out of Iraq as soon as possible.
It'd be nice to have the detainees come over this evening.
That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing.
He's our guy.
You know, I thanked him and he said, go home, be with my family. You know, I spoke to him very briefly, but what a great guy.
Champ, all I can say is that there is no way in the world that I can adequately thank you.
Thank God. God works through people. It's not me.
Yeah, I know, but it's, you literally saved my life.
Everybody say Ali, Ali, Ali.
Free thumbs up.
Free man. Free man right now. Yes, sir.
I was just lucky for some reason to be on Muhammad Ali's list. I'm grateful for it.
He's a marvelous individual, marvelous man.
Unless Muhammad Ali came to Iraq and negotiated with Saddam Hussein, I wouldn't be out of there, I guarantee you.
I gave Muhammad Ali a kiss and said, you know, thanks for bringing my dad home. And I didn't really know what else to say other than that. I mean, it was really overwhelming.
Ali had reunited 15 families in time to celebrate the holidays. 6 weeks later, Operation Desert Storm began. For the former hostages and their loved ones, the bombings offered a grim reminder of their narrow escape from danger.
It was unbelievable to think that without the help of Muhammad Ali, he could have been there for the bombing.